What if Bangladesh and India went to war in 2025? Two South Asian neighbors, bound by history and geography but divided by tensions. In this video, we'll compare their military strengths, analyze the strategic dynamics, and explore the potential outcomes of this hypothetical conflict. Let's dive in. First, let's set the stage. India and Bangladesh share a 4,096-kilometer border, with Bangladesh almost entirely encircled by India. The Bay of Bengal lies to the south, a critical maritime theater. Historical disputes over water sharing like the Teesta River border skirmishes and refugee issues could escalate into conflict by 2025. Let's break down their military capabilities, projected for 2025 based on current trends. India ranks 4th globally on the 2025 Global Firepower Index with a power index score of 0.1184. It has 1.46 million active personnel, 1.15 million reserves, and a defense budget of approximately $73.8 billion, adjusted for inflation. India's arsenal includes 4,614 tanks, over 650 fighter jets like the Rafale and Su-30 MKI, 2 aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, and an estimated 150 to 200 nuclear warheads, with advanced missile systems like the Agni-V. India's strengths lie in its technological superiority, air dominance, and naval power, making it a regional heavyweight. Bangladesh, ranked 35th with a power index score of 0.6062, has 163,000 active personnel and 91,000 reserves. Its defense budget is around $3.6 billion. Bangladesh fields 320 tanks, mostly Chinese Type 69 and 59 models, 44 fighter jets like the F-7BG, and a navy with frigates and corvettes. It has no nuclear weapons but is modernizing under its Forces Goal 2030 plan, acquiring Turkish rocket systems and Chinese hardware. Bangladesh's strengths include its defensive terrain, rivers and deltas, and a growing domestic military industry. Now, let's look at the strategic dynamics. Geographically, Bangladesh is at a disadvantage. India surrounds it on 3 sides, giving India the ability to impose land and naval blockades. India's control over the Bay of Bengal would allow it to dominate maritime routes, potentially cutting off Bangladesh's access to supplies. Alliances play a role too. India has strong ties with global powers like the United States and Russia, providing access to advanced technology and diplomatic support. Bangladesh aligns with China, which supplies much of its equipment, but China is unlikely to intervene directly due to its cautious stance on regional conflicts. So, what happens if war breaks out in 2025? Let's imagine a scenario where tensions over the Teesta River escalate and a border skirmish spirals into full-scale conflict. Initial phase India would likely leverage its air and naval superiority. Indian fighter jets like the Rafale could target Bangladesh's key infrastructure. Think Dhaka's airports and Chittagong's port, within hours. India's navy, with its aircraft carriers and submarines, could blockade Bangladesh's coastline, crippling its economy and supply lines. Bangladesh would counter with defensive tactics. Its terrain, rivers, deltas, and urban areas favors guerrilla warfare. Bangladesh's forces could slow India's advance, using Chinese anti-tank weapons and Turkish rocket systems to inflict casualties. But India's sheer numbers and technology would likely overwhelm these defenses. Mid-conflict. As India advances, urban centers like Dhaka could become battlegrounds. Bangladesh's smaller air force would struggle against India's air dominance, leaving its ground forces exposed. India might also deploy cyber attacks to disrupt Bangladesh's communications, further tilting the balance. India's nuclear arsenal adds another layer. While unlikely to be used in a conventional war, the threat of nuclear escalation would loom large, deterring any external intervention. Duration and outcome. Given the military disparity, India could achieve a decisive victory within weeks to a few months. However, Bangladesh's resilience and terrain could prolong resistance, turning the conflict into a costly occupation for India. Casualties would be high on both sides, with Bangladesh facing economic collapse and mass displacement. Global reaction? The international community would likely step in quickly. The United Nations, along with powers like the United States and China, would push for a ceasefire. China might offer diplomatic support to Bangladesh, but direct military involvement is improbable. Humanitarian aid would flood the region to address the refugee crisis. Conclusion? In a 2025 war, India's overwhelming military advantage points to a swift victory, but Bangladesh's defensive capabilities and international pressure could limit escalation. Historically, these nations have resolved disputes through diplomacy, making a full-scale war unlikely. What do you think? Could this scenario unfold, or will peace prevail? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.